Every time I would shift any part of my body into the sunlight, it literally felt like I was a vampire and my skin was burning every time I touched the sun. Welcome back, guys. So welcome back to our channel. This is Bella and Brawley TV. So we're going to switch up the usual content we do today. Okay, restart. What's going on today, guys? So welcome back to the channel. This is Bella and Brawley TV. So we're going to switch up what we normally do, and we're going to do some original stuff today. So what I would like to do is something called Creator Corner. So basically I'm going to tell you a little bit of a story about my life, and well, let's just say this first story I've got is kind of interesting. So let me preface this by saying no, I didn't get any superpowers. I just went to the hospital. So let's go ahead and get into it, guys. So this is back in the year 98, so I was 4 years old at the time. My parents had just bought a house and we were working on it. We had a dog, we had a Rottweiler at the time named Dobie, and they were building a new dog house for him, or dog lot around our shed. So at this time, there was no grass, no anything at the house. So I was on the driveway while my grandma and my dad were down in the backyard working on this dog fence. They were putting the fence up along the posts. So I asked my dad, I was like, hey Dad, can I come down there? And he was like, well, before you do that, you need to put your shoes on just because it's really rocky and stuff and we don't want you getting hurt. So I ended up getting out of the pool and went to go put my shoes on, and immediately I knew something was wrong. It felt like hot stabbing knives went straight into my toe. And being 4 years old, of course, I started crying crazy. And so basically my grandmother came up to the garage where I was sitting on the ground, and she was like, you know, so why are you crying? And I just started pointing at my foot. So she's like, okay, takes my shoe off, beats it out on the ground, and lo and behold, a black widow fell out. So she starts going crazy, yells at my dad, and he comes running up from the backyard, and he sees it on the ground and is trying to scuttle away, and he's got a hammer in his hand still, and he just goes to town on this spider, beating it. I swear he beat this thing like 15, 20 times before it finally died. So after that, my grandma rushed me to the local Prime Care, whatever it be at that time, and I can just remember that ride very, very vividly. It was in my grandpa's old Ford Explorer, Ford Explorer. So we're riding to the Prime Care, and I can remember sitting in the passenger seat, and every time I would shift any part of my body into the sunlight, it literally felt like I was a vampire and my skin was burning every time I touched the sun. That sounds crazy, but that's what it felt like. So we ended up getting to the Prime Care and tell them kind of what happened, and they're like, a black widow, you know, that's very uncommon. You know, we haven't had a reported black widow bite in North Carolina in over 25 years, so if this is the case, you'd be the first. So they just kind of watched me for a little bit, put me on, I think they gave me some Advil or something, nothing crazy, but once they told my dad that, he had to go back to the house, he had to dig through the trash can, he got the body of the black widow out, brought it back to the Prime Care, and as soon as they saw the red little hourglass on his stomach, they were like, yep, take him to the hospital right now, we're going to call ahead, we're going to get you a room. So by the time I got to the hospital, my body was already going into convulsions. I was having muscle spasms, and it literally looked like I was having contractions in every single part of my body. So they started me on a round of antivenom, and I want to say that lasted maybe like an hour and a half, 2 hours. And then once they ended up getting the whole antivenom in my system, they proceeded to put me on Valium and morphine. Now, being 4 years old at the time, I didn't have any kind of medical history interacting with these kind of drugs. So my spasms kind of started getting a little bit more under control. But after that happened, I broke out in hives all over my body. So to this day, we still don't know what I'm allergic to, so it's either going to be morphine or Valium. So I ended up staying in the hospital a little over 7 days, I believe it was. And I was the very first reported case of a black widow bite in North Carolina in over 25 years. crazy to say. And like I said, no, I didn't get any superpowers. I don't even have the marks on my foot anymore. But, you know, that was a crazy story. That's a story I still tell to this day. And it was definitely a life-changing experience. I could have died right then and there if my dad hadn't been so quick to act, my grandma hadn't been so quick to act. And, you know, if I really didn't have that support system around me to, you know, get me where I needed to be, then I wouldn't be here right now. I'd be 6 feet deep in the ground. So that wraps up my little story about the Black Widow bike, guys. So yeah, that's going to be our Creators Corner for the night. We're going to try to either, I don't know, maybe do these once every 2 weeks, once a week, I don't know. With dogs, it is kind of hard to create a lot of original content with the dogs besides just the raw food diet and then just on the daily activities. So we wanted to spice it up and add a little something in there extra for you guys. So if you like this, make sure to hit a thumbs up, subscribe, let us know if you like what we're putting out. That way we can go ahead and create some more content for you guys. So with that being said, guys, I hope you have a great rest of your night. Make sure, hit the like button, subscribe, hit that bell. Thanks, guys. Love y'all.